Hello and welcome to Dance Chat with Aubre Hill. I am your host, and it is my great pleasure and honor to be diving into this interview series, exploring conversations about dance, teaching, culture, and so much more as we explore our rich living history. Thank you so much for tuning in and enjoy. Maria is an award-winning professional belly dance artist based in Santa Clara of the San Jose, San Francisco Bay Area. She is the house belly dancer at several popular Bay Area restaurants and a frequent guest at many Arabic, Turkish, Moroccan, and Persian public and private venues. Her elegant and cheerful dance style made her a sought-after performer in the Middle Eastern community. She has had the honor of performing for audiences in Brazil, Turkey, Mexico, Canada, Malaysia, Russia, and the United States. Maria is a belly dance instructor at several local dance studios and a director of the student troupe Almaz. She also enjoys traveling to teach workshops locally and internationally. Originally from Moscow, Russia, Maria fell in love with Middle Eastern dance while traveling to Egypt and Tunisia. Since moving to the United States, Maria has dedicated herself to studying belly dance with her teacher, Sandra, who continues to be a major influence and inspiration for her. Additionally, she continues to expand her studies through workshops with well-known teachers such as Rahia Hassan, Tito, Aziza, and many more, who further enhance her dance style. She also regularly travels to Moscow, where she uses the opportunity to study with famous Russian belly dancers. She's featured on several DVDs, holds a degree in economics, and has her MBA. Other passions include traveling, figure skating, and visual arts. Please welcome Maria.
Thank you for inviting me. Actually, I look at the people you invite and I'm like, wow, like they all California legends. And then there's me like in the corner. How do I even stand next to them? I don't even have anything in my bio that would be so, significant and impressive as they have. Or maybe I just don't know how to write my bio correct.
You've been very influential, especially on this new generation, which is why I wanted to reach out because one, we have a very strong Southern California representation, and we haven't had as much NorCal representation.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of it is that I feel like the Bay Area dancers are very much more familiar with their history, and Southern California is very much more familiar with their history. And having been born in the Bay Area, having lived up there, and having lived down here for over 20 years now, I have my foot in kind of both in a different type of way that I think most.
I didn't know you were from here.
Yeah. Oh. And so, one, getting a chance to get some of that NorCal representation, but I think also you've been very influential into kind of this whole new generation of dancers that is coming up through the competitions and performing and kind of branching out in new different ways. And I think it's a great opportunity for people to understand your influence in that space and how you've really created these seeds in the community that are provoking a lot of change. So
I didn't even know, but thank you. I'm happy to know.
So within that, let's go kind of into the beginning of things. So okay. If I'm correct, you first came across belly dance or Middle Eastern dance within Egypt while you were traveling. Is that correct?
Yes, it was a traveling just as a tourist. I was probably 18. It was my very first trip abroad. And I went to the Red Sea, to Hurghada, not even to Cairo, the touristic place, with my friends. And at some point we went to one of the night shows, and there I saw the belly dancer for the first time in my life. What can I say now? At that time, I thought she was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. And I feel like she was Egyptian. Now that I think back, I doubt she was Egyptian because, not many Egyptian dancers actually work like in the hotels with the shows. But maybe that time, 20 years ago, maybe she was Egyptian. She looked very Egyptian. Like she has this big black ponytail and a curvy figure and gold dress. And I just, I think it was amazing. Now again, thinking back, I don't even know if she was a good dancer because back then I thought this was all amazing, but maybe just the gold dress was shining in my eyes. She was probably the, I don't know, average good dancer, but maybe not something exciting. And I remember she went around the room at some points and she wanted somebody to come and join her on stage. And she picked me because I had most excited face, probably like that. And I was wearing the brightest orange, green, whatever dress, and it was a very short dress. And she grabbed me and brought me on stage. And there I did something amazing, as I thought. I'm happy that there was no phones and it's not on the video because it was absolutely nothing close to belly dance. Probably I used to watch, you know, some Brazilian or whatever dance. Lambada was a popular dance back then. So I just tried to sway my hips all directions and pretend I'm being cool on stage. And everyone was clapping. Maybe they were laughing, but I didn't know, I didn't care. I just danced next to her. And I came down and people were complimenting me, most of course men, most of course Egyptian men, because my dress was very short. So this is how it all started, yeah. But even before that, I used to, I think it started with the love of the music, you know, I really liked Middle Eastern music. I had a habit of going to the different countries and as a souvenir bringing cassettes. Back then it was the cassettes with the music from different countries. So I would bring them. I don't understand what they're singing, but I like the music. So I would put this cassette on, close the room, make sure parents don't watching, put a long skirt, roll up my top, and just do whatever I thought was a belly dancing. So yeah, started like like many other people. And only until, not until I moved to United States and when I had my first real teacher, this is when I really started to learn the dance properly, and it was 2004.
And so you actually officially started studying dance as an adult. And I find, at least in my experience as a teacher, that this is a dance form that really welcomes new students coming in as an adult, whereas a lot of other dance forms that maybe not necessarily the case. What did you find to be maybe some of the hurdles of starting dance education as an adult, but maybe also what were the benefits?
I will never find out because I haven't started as a kid. So I don't have anything to compare, right? I can only talk for being an adult, but in Russia it's very typical, you know, to study dance. You know, it's all about ballet and everything. And I remember already as an adult, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, why you never took me to dance school when I was little? Because she took me to music school and I have piano. I finished the music school, 9 years of piano and everything. I have the diploma of that. But I hated it back then. I wanted to dance. I would close the room again, you know, put the music and try to dance because my body required it. And I asked her why you didn't do that, and she said I did. So she actually took me to ballet school, like all the other parents. But in Russia, at least at that time, if you're not planning to become a professional or something, you don't do it. So there is no something like, oh, you take dance classes for fun. You either take dance classes to become a dancer, either you don't take them. So she took me to the school, they look at my legs and they said something with the bones, like not, like I will not become a great ballet dancer, they said, because of the shape of the legs, because of the bones, because they said she's going to grow too tall for ballerina. So they just said no, and they didn't take me to that school, and that's it. So I waited until I was adult, already moved here, and unfortunately I had a kind of visa which did not allow me to work because I had a career in finance and accounting back in Russia, and when we moved here with my husband, I had a supporting visa, you know, he can work and I couldn't. So I'm like, okay, let me try things which I always wanted to try and never had a chance. And here I discovered that you can just go and take a dance class, just to learn to dance, not to become a dancer. Or you can go and take a drawing class just to learn to draw. It was amazing. Like I went to community college and I took everything I could, you know, language classes, drawing classes, painting, dancing. And yeah, I Googled belly dancer and I came across the name, and the name was Nana Candelaria. Yeah, you know her.
Wonderful.
So back then I just saw the name and I'm like, there were a few others. I think I took them from Shira website. You know, Shira.com was the website of our choice where you got all information. Shira, if you're ever going to watch this, thank you. It was an amazing resource. And I look at the names and I'm like, there was no pictures, there was just names and maybe websites, information. And I'm like, I like this name, Nana Candelaria. Just sounds so pretty. So I chose her by the name and I sent her email. I said, I want to try belly dancing and everything. And she replies me that you're very welcome, but I live in Berkeley. And from where I live, Berkeley is like almost 2-hour drive. And I said, I don't know if I can make it. Can you recommend somebody closer to my area? And she gave me a few names, and one of them was Sandra. And why would I choose Sandra out of this name? Sandra has the website. She had a website with the beautiful big pictures on the full page. And the rest of the dancers had just text. So Sandra already knew back then how it all works, that it's a picture-oriented word. So I saw the picture of Sandra on the website. And I immediately sent her a message and I show up to her class. And I will never forget that day because I didn't speak English very well and I'm just shy in general, except for the shows. And I came, I parked my car and I'm like, no, I'm so scared, I'm not going to go. And I turned the engine again and I take the wheel, I'm like, I'm leaving. And I'm like, no, it's a shame, I'm already here, I should do it. And I turn off. Like I did this turn on, turn off car for like minimum 4 times because, you know, I tried to force myself, Maria, you can do it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And then I said, you know, you will regret if you don't do it. So I turned off the car, I went to the classroom and I saw her from the back. She was moving. It was the most amazing, beautiful thing I ever saw. And I stayed forever. That's how it all started.
And what a wonderful gift and kind of serendipitous gift from the universe that you came into class first with Sandra, because she became your teacher and mentor in so many ways.
It's a blessing, it's a gift, and many, many times I think about the day, how she changed my life. I said, if I would drive away from this class, I don't know what would I be now. Maybe I would be again in accounting, in finance, maybe I'd doing something else, maybe dancing, maybe not, but it really, that day and that moment changed my life. Yeah, it really is.
And what have some of the biggest lessons that she has given you that you continue to move forward and share within your dancing?
The first one was very funny. I was crying after the class. The first few classes was very hard, you know, because like she's isolating something and I'm like, do I even have this muscle? Do I even have this body part? I remember and she was so beautiful. She would walk up in the class like this diva, you know, with this black hair and everything. And then back there. And once I was really crying, like with the real tears, and I came to show off to the class and I said, I don't know, it doesn't work, you know, all these muscles, I don't have it, like, what should I do? Really crying. And do you know what she did? She just turned her head, like very elegantly, like this over the shoulder. And she said, oh, keep coming. And I felt so hurt at this moment because I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm crying, like I'm pouring my soul here. And she just like, keep coming, because probably every student comes with the same set of tears. And she said, keep coming. And then I'm like, well, okay. She said, keep coming. I'll just keep coming. And I just kept coming. And I went big way from there. She taught me to be professional in every single aspect of dancing. You know, we became, she was my teacher, then she started to involve me in performing with her, then subbing her shows. We became partners, dance partners, we became best friends, and until now we're best friends. We talk to each other every week and we see each other every couple of weeks. And professionalism in every single aspect, and that would be her. And back then, not many people experienced that. She was kind of ahead of her time, you know, very modern. Like the website needs to be perfect, the business card needs to be on the best paper, looking your best picture, everything. The costume needs to be most expensive you can afford. Your hair needs to be this, your hair, like everything. Like she was coaching me for a long time, and even when I started on my own, I still was able to call her and say, hey, how do I do in this situation? How much do I charge? What do I tell them? Everything I owe up to her. I love her.
I can see this strong thread of this kind of polished professionalism in this whole dance family, this lineage really that comes and really comes off of Sandra in this type of way of elegantly prepared. Right? If something is out of place, nobody knows. You know, like there is a professionalism involved in like down to the detail of the photographs that are being shared or touched up, or like the whole presentation behind everything really has such a sense of curation. Like it's very intentional, and I have always really appreciated that.
I agree. It's a great skill to learn because it's a skill. I cannot say that she is naturally this kind of person, nor am I, because if you know us outside of the belly dancing world, you know, of our profession, then we're really laid back and very like, whatever. I don't care. I mean, I know I should not tell this, but really, we're normal people. So there is this, you know, kind of you turn this side, this is one side, you turn this side, this is the other side, but you never do things halfway. If you do something, you do it all the way. Otherwise you don't do it.
So what advice would you give new dancers to succeed within this?
Probably this one already we just talked about is to put everything you have at 100%. This is why I also thought, like sometimes people ask me, why don't you do other dance styles? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? And then I explain them, this is why I was able to go maybe that far in my field, because I put everything I had into it. I didn't do many things. I was concentrated on one thing. That helps. If you can concentrate on one thing, it always helps. Giving everything 100% also helps. For example, this morning I woke up and I'm like, all these blue things under my eyes and cup. And I'm like, oh, maybe I put some sweater and talk to the interview. And then I'm like, no, I shouldn't. I should go put on the dress and maybe put some eyelashes because we have to be at 100% of everything. You know, I regret I didn't paint my nails. If I go to the performance and I see two tables, and, you know, I perform in the restaurant still. If I see two tables or if I see 500 people, I give the same treatment, the same amount of energy, the same amount of everything. And this is the rule for me. I would never think, oh, it's only two tables, let's fake it. Or maybe let's not put hair extension, or maybe let's just shorten the set. No, it should be always top of top. I think that helps. Also stay passionate, you know, I'm really passionate about dancing, and it's been 18 years and I'm not any less passionate. But if you ever try to do something you're not passionate about, it's a job, it's a work. But when you're passionate about, it's Friday, it's Saturday. I wait all the week to go to perform. And I perform a lot. It's been every single weekend for the 18 years, multiple shows, and still passionate about it, even for the small one.
That's wonderful. I was listening to another interview that you have done and talking about really this joy that being in the entertainment world in particular brings, right? The connection that you get a chance to have with your audience, especially when you're working within the restaurant space. And what I found absolutely delightful about it is as our dance form has shifted from nightclubs and restaurants, still having that, but also shifting more and more towards theater. I hear generally this concept of the idea that the theater is somehow a more full expression of the dance. And I love both. And as I was hearing you get a chance to talk about in another interview, how much you enjoy getting a chance to be close to your audience. So the intimacy that we have within this dance of really seeing their eyes and seeing how they're interacting within the movement, and that it's this shared experience with our audience. And I just so appreciated that, because especially I think at this juncture, more and more dancers are only getting a chance to be on the stage space and not necessarily in that personable room of
I think it's a big part of our dance, and I am sometimes people say like 18 years you dance at the same restaurant, like don't you want to move to something bigger? I'm a little bigger. I mean, I'm doing plenty of theater shows, but I would never, I wouldn't want to give up my little Saturday night show at the same restaurant, because it's a different experience for me and for people. And I do my best shows there. Like if you ever saw my video, my performance on stage, and you think, oh, this is good or not good enough, I don't know, whatever. But I swear, and I'm confident about it, if you come to my little show on Saturday night at my restaurant, I'll blow you away. Like, this is how good I can do the show at that place. And this is just because the energy of the people around you, you know, in the theater, it's you against them, they against you. And here it's a unity. I feel like it's a unity of energy. I give them, it comes back, and it's just like this going in and out all the time. It's absolutely, it's my favorite, still my favorite. So I'm really sad to see like less and less restaurants and nightclubs more of them being closed, especially after COVID and everything. Sad. I think it's an amazing experience. And this is actually one of my advice to the dancers. And this was advice from Sandra to me. She pushed me out to do the restaurant shows as soon as I could, probably after my first year of dancing or second year of dancing. She started me subbing her shows. And she just pushed me out like, go swim. And I think this is the biggest experience I have. It made me an entertainer, not just a dancer, not just an artist, an entertainer. And this is the compliment I get from the audience a lot of time. I do a lot of private events and everything, and they always say, oh, you know, we hired that other belly dancer last time, and she was good, but she was dancing, and you made us all happy. I'm like, here we go. I'm here to make you happy. Because at some points, for so many years, again, dancing in the same place, you get to get creative. You get to get like, okay, what is it do I do? What is it do I do to stay interesting to them? And I realized that it's not, how to say, like my audience is my main goal. Okay, I'm not here to showcase what I can. I'm not here to surprise them. I'm not here to, I don't know, I'm here to entertain them. And once I change my mindset to that, things have become magical. Like I'm there for them. Not they came here to see me, but I came here to entertain them. And I keep this through my whole show, you know, through the whole like half an hour, whatever I dance. I keep it in my mind, like, how can I be more interesting? What else can I do to keep them engaged, to keep them interested during my show? And I think the benefit of doing a long show is because, yeah, you can really work on that. It's not like you prepared 5 minutes, came on stage and you're done. Half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes I dance, and for 45 minutes I need to be interested, need to be them compete with the steak because they eat the steak. And I want them to look at me. So all kinds of amazing things as an entertaining I learned to during that.
Right, the art of capturing attention and holding. Yeah. Well, and just within the last 18 years, we're thinking about there's been a tremendous change in business practices and forms of communication, especially in the development of social media. What are some of the kind of more important changes in how you approach your business now than you did 18 years ago?
Yeah, I feel like I have a full-time job on Facebook and Instagram. I feel like I could use an assistant because it's a very helpful platforms, definitely. But it's a lot of work once you learn and understand the algorithms and how everything works. It all requires consistency. You just wake up and you start scrolling and posting and commenting and everything. Um, yeah, I don't know. I wish I had somebody to do that. It took me a long time to explain to my family, to my friends, to everyone that no, I'm not just sitting on Facebook, because they would be, oh, you're just sitting, killing your time. I'm not sitting, killing my time. I'm doing my job on Facebook, and they don't understand it. You think I'm sitting. I'm like, no, I wish, but I need to post this at this time in order for the algorithm to bring you up, so you have engagement. And I do get business over there. I have people contact me all the time for the gigs, for the private events, for the bigger shows, for the festivals, for everything. It just brings business, definitely.
Yeah. I think I think in general, most of us are trying to figure out how to juggle the multitude of social media platforms, how to keep learning new skills within, like, oh, this is how I now edit reels because they're going to get higher traction on Instagram or things like that. Like it's such a quick moving and changing space. But is such a really amazing tool for us to be able to connect with each other as a part of the community, but also getting our work out there into the public.
It's true. It's kind of like, I know what you are doing, you know what I'm doing, and we barely talk like once every twice a year at the events, but kind of following each other. I like that part, the connection, definitely, with everyone around the world. It's definitely helpful in that way.
Yeah, yeah. I think especially, I mean, the pandemic has been difficult for all of us in all kinds of different ways, but I think it really inspired a variety more people to do things online, which kind of
Yes.
connect our community even more so across the globe.
I bought a computer for this is my little home studio. I bought a computer like 5 years ago. At some point, I'm like, I'm going to try online classes, and it was standing there. I never tried because I prepared everything, and I'm like, why would I? Because I'm already so busy with in-person classes and troop rehearsals and everything else. And then I was lucky that everything was prepared for the pandemic day, because I woke up and I'm like, oh, but I already have everything. So now I have no way back. I need to do it. And it saved me. Yes, I think it really helped me. And people say I helped them. I was doing like literally every day online classes during the pandemic. And yeah, it was a great experience. Surprisingly, I think I can say that these 2 years was my most productive years out of my whole career. Like in these 2 years, I choreographed so many choreographies as I choreographed in 10 years before, just because, I was trapped here. Yeah, and definitely now I teach online classes and people like it, and people attend them like from Switzerland, from Malaysia, from Mexico, and I'm like, wow. So there is always something little good and everything bad and reverse.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like you're going to stay teaching online.
I do, yeah. I continue teach online. I reduce now. I used to teach like every day. Now I reduce like to 1 or 2 days, because now I have my studio open in-person classes. But I continue because people say, yeah, we like it, and nobody hears. I don't like it. I don't like it. I try to take online classes myself, and it's fine, but it's not something I would commit to. Here and there I can, but for me, it doesn't really work much. I require personal energy exchange with people, but my students like it, and so I continue. But it's so much work. I think for an hour of online class, I lose energy as for 3 hours of in-person class, because to stay engaged, to stay connected with them, it's like a whole show on its own.
Absolutely. And I love teaching online, but I definitely feel that same kind of way of, like what we're talking about, the difference of when you're performing on a big stage versus when you're like interacting with your audience.
Exactly.
In the studio with your students, I can get so much more energy off of what they're doing. And when I'm teaching online, you can't get the same kind of energy back. Like you can't, it's hard to get feedback whether they're typing it into the chat or even saying it verbally. But so it's so much more energy, but it makes it accessible for people that wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity otherwise.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's you and black screen, and the black screen sucks out your energy, but it's still a great tool. Yeah, so no regrets. I'm happy that we have this now.
Me too. Me too. So you are known for having incredible Bella costumes, new costumes all the time, and they're so amazing, color combinations and extravagance and elegance beyond. How did that relationship develop, and how does that work? Most people don't have such a tight.
It started with Sandra because she was one of Bella's customers, and when I was about to purchase my first costume for my first ever student night, and I think I did purchase something for $50. My God, back then $50 was, for the Egyptian costume, which did not fit. And I was complaining, it doesn't fit here, it doesn't fit there. And she said, you should invest in a Bella. And especially if you want to start subbing my restaurant show, you need a professional, good fitted costume. And she was swearing that her costumes, Bella's costume, fit the best. And by fit the best, I mean especially the upper part, the bra part, because it's easy to adjust the skirts, the belts, but if the bra doesn't fit properly, then that's it. And Egyptian costumes, at least at that time, they were notorious for not fitting very well, unless maybe your bigger size of the bra, I don't know. So I did invest in first Bella and then second Bella, and then it just started. And I went to Istanbul many times. Every few years I go and visit Evin. Her name is Evin, and she's an amazing woman. Very strong, very free spirited, very talented, very creative. She sees you. She knows what fits you. She knows what doesn't fit you. She always such a professional. Yeah, I'm blessed to meet her, and I just like my costumes. Not to brag, but I think over the past 18 years, I had like over 200 of your costumes.
And do you keep most of them, or do you?
No, this is the trick. This is the thing that people think that I'm so rich that I have a whole room just for my Bellas. No, to be honest, at the time I keep like about probably 10 to 15 costumes, and I keep rotating them. So this is the only way I can afford it, and the only way I can actually store them. So I would buy a costume, I would keep it for, I don't know, a year or two, depends on the costume. I'll make sure it's still in the perfect condition, so I really take care of them. And then I will put it up for sale, and many dancers like getting costumes at a discounted price because it is expensive costumes. And they are so really well made that I see my costumes still in rotation after like 15 years. Like I'm still like, oh, this used to be my costume in 2000. And it's still there, and it still works, and all the beads in place, because everything is sewn by hands, and she has such a quality control. She's a perfectionist of perfectionists. Like if something not there, she will like send it back, like return it, we'll fix it. I'm like, no, sorry, I can fix it, just tell me, like, And she said, yeah, amazing.
That's wonderful. Has there been a costume ever that you've gotten rid of and afterwards you're like, oh, I really wish I'd kept that one?
No, I get rid of everything. Every new one I get, I'm like, I will never sell this. This is my new favorite. But because I perform so much, I feel like, I mean, I should not complain because my uniforms are so beautiful. Nurses wear these white uniforms or blue uniforms. The firefighters wear another uniforms, and my uniforms always different, always beautiful. But can you imagine after 1 year, I feel like I just can't wear the costume anymore. And also performing at the same venues, for example, same restaurants weekly. Many of them are Arabic or Persian people, and the ladies always there in their jewels, in their finest best. And believe it or not, at some point they will be like, oh, isn't it this costume you wore 2 weeks ago? I'm like, I'm sorry, yes, it's the costume. like they start recognize my costumes, and when they start to recognize my costume, they say, "Oh, you came to my party 2 years ago, and you were wearing this costume." I'm like, okay, so I have to keep creating for them the fairy tale of me, like, you know, just growing into these new costumes all the time. People love it. It's a part of entertainment for them every time to see what new costume do I wear. All the regulars there, they're like, oh, yeah. So partially that too.
I think that's a part of like the professional dance expectation that is a little different when people are not necessarily performing at the same place on a constant basis.
Exactly. Yeah, this is why I emphasize that I'm in the same places weekly, and they do really start to. They will start to recognize my music. They will start to recognize my costume, and I'm like, it's time to change. And yeah, the only time to change is to buy something new. I need to sell something old. this is the only trick.
And along those lines, how do you want the audience to remember you?
How do I want them to remember you? I get this compliment, thanks God, quite often, and this is my favorite one. They come to me, and when I hear they say this, I almost have tears in my eyes. They would come and they would say, we were watching you, and we were seeing how happy you feel there, how, you know, how much joy you have there, and that joy and that happiness came to us. Thank you. And once they say that, I'm like, I don't think I've heard anything better than that. I mean, I've heard you look pretty, your costume is good, your technique is great, this is nice choreography. It's always good, solid compliments. It acknowledges your work, but that compliment acknowledge something else, and this is my favorite. And I've been trying to work on that on my stage presence, on my, I don't know how to say. I can't say work on charisma, because you can't work on charisma. You either have it, either not. But actually, I think you can develop more of it. You know, since I met one of my favorite dancers, he changed my perception, and the dancer was Tito. And first time I saw Tito, yeah, before I was mostly studying with Sandra and like some local teachers and some workshops too, and it was always more of the choreography and technique. And then I met this guy, and I remember I came first time to the workshop, and we're all standing, and he's in front of us, and he comes and he does that. And that moment I feel like this wave of the energy or something else just comes like and press me to the wall, and I'm like, wow. And I've been in love with him. I'm not ashamed to say in love with him for this past 15 years. Took every class he was possibly offering in our area or wherever I could reach. And there I realized that there is something more than dancing. And I've been trying to project and work on that charismatic appearance, on that energy projection. So yeah, I love when people give me that compliment, because I'm like, it works. I worked on it, and it's coming through.
And how do you encourage that in your students?
Yes, I always tell them, and I always set Tito as an example, and any other dancers, if we watch together, I always say, look for this thing. You can't explain it with words, but you, at some point, you know if the dancer has it or not, because it's just like little things, you know. I try to emphasize that you should learn already from the beginning. It will be too late if you learn the choreography and, oh, and now I put personality on top. So many times when I choreograph or when I teach classes, I already incorporate it in the class. Like I will show them the move, and then I'll say, okay, this is how we embellish it, and this is what you're supposed to feel in this place. So in this place, you're supposed to feel that or project that. So once they build the choreography, they already know kind of the guideline, what they're supposed to do.
So really you're translating the emotional energy to the audience.
It is. And as I mentioned earlier, it's always keep in mind the audience. You're there for them. What else can you do for them? How can you make them happy? This really, really helps every single moment.
And you're also a parent to a teenager, which is amazing.
Yes. Yes, because when I put a lot of makeup, people think I'm 29 and I will be, oh, okay, let's think so.
How
And
has
I always,
a parent influenced being a dancer, and how has a dancer been an influence to being a parent?
I don't know, I feel like I'm more of a teenager than she is. When people ask me how old do you feel, I always say I feel 17 because this is how much I feel inside. And now that my daughter is 15, something doesn't match. So I'm afraid very soon I'll be feel younger than her. It's definitely being committed to your career and to dancing that definitely take away from the personal life, from the family life. I always felt that. I always felt guilty about that. Enormous support from my husband in raising my daughter. Otherwise, I would never make it because, you know, she was born in 2006, and I think 2 months later, I was already back to my regular performances. And my husband would give her the milk from the bottle, which I pumped before I leave, and then I need to come back 2 hours later because I need the new milk. Lots of struggle with that. So I'm grateful for his support in that. And people often ask me if she also dance. No, she's not into belly dancing, and I don't feel like it's my job to teach her or to force her or to anything. I would rather have her find her own way. I did introduce her to dance since she was like 2 or 3. She took some ballet, some jazz, some break dancing, but she never stayed with anything for a long time that she would like. And then lastly, the pandemic happened, and I lost her last dance class because she said online classes are not fine. So she's not currently taking a dance, but I think I put the seed in there. So if when she gets older, she's interested, so the seed can come into the plant. So that was it. And having her little when I had lots of performances and shows was very difficult. Yeah, it was very difficult. Also, I remember people invited me to travel, to teach workshops, and I would be, oh, I can't go there because I have like 3-month-old baby. Oh, I can't go there. Or I would go and then I would, okay, I can't stay here for 4 days. I can only stay for 2 days. And I fly to Malaysia and back. I fly to Mexico and back, and always like on the phone. Oh, did you feed them? So the timing was not perfect for my career and for having a child, but it is what it is. And I think we went through it. So.
And has your daughter, I'm assuming she's seen some of your shows.
She's seen some of the shows. She's unimpressed.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's not. If you think I have a whole like support, a whole hall of supporters here, no, everyone at home is like, yeah, it's mom's job. This is what moms do, but whatever.
They get to see you're fabulous all the time, so.
I don't know. Yeah, she doesn't say much about it, so we'll see. I remember when she was just born, I think she was 2 months old. We went to Rakasa, and it was back, I was still in Sandra's troupe, I think, and we performed. And then after the show, Miles Copeland ran after me, and he gave me his business card. He said, "Oh my God, we need you like to audition for Bellydance Superstars. You're just what we need." And I was a baby dancer, and I'm like, wow. And everyone around like, "Oh my God, this is a lifetime of opportunity, Bellydance Superstars." And I'm like, "But I have 2 months old baby." And he said, "No, but we need to go on tour for like half a year or something." And I'm like, "A few months." And this is just speaking of lost opportunities, that things could be different if my family life and my career didn't go just like that. But again, it is what it is. I would not trade having a daughter for anything else. So definitely.
And then at a certain point, you started your own dance company.
I was inspired by you. And by a few more, definitely inspired by Sandra, because again, she was guiding me, and she did have a troupe at that time, and she said, "This is what you need to do." And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do. But again, I was observing you and having your dance company. This is always inspirational, the things you guys do and how much effort you put on it. I'm not nearly there. I'm more of a laid back troupe director, but yes, it's been many years already, and we do festivals, competitions. We have a few prizes we won as a troupe too, and it's fun. It's really a community. Yeah, I think I like to see how these people become friends and family beyond the dancing. You know, you start as a dancers, and then you look at them and, oh, they're already going out for lunch together. Oh, they're already inviting each other to the birthday parties. They do this. And this warms my heart, because on the down days, I feel, oh my God, I don't do anything significant in life. In terms like, there are doctors, they save lives. There are teachers, they teach children. There are, I don't know, you know, some scientists, they do big discoveries, and I'm just a dance teacher and performer. Like, what is it I'm doing for the for the world? And then I see these people, and they come to class, and they come to troupe rehearsals, and they become friends, they become families, and then tell you too. They will come and they will tell you, like, you know, this is what happened to me because of you, because of coming to your little class or something. And you feel like, I'm doing important things.
Yeah.
I bet you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that camaraderie, that support, that network, it gives a place for people to really feel that they belong and that they're not just accepted but celebrated. And then what amazing, like, they just shine, right? They can really shine into the world, like, their unique gifts in such this incredible way. And yeah, that heartwarming is, like, I think the best way to describe that. I just absolutely love that.
Exactly. I saw it. I just saw it in your eyes as I was talking. I'm like, she feels the same.
Yeah, I mean, directing a group is so much work. And, you know, like, a lot of people will ask about advice or various things. And it's one of those things that, like, yeah, if you don't have a genuine love of working with people and wanting to coordinate a lot of logistics and stuff, even if you're being more relaxed about it, it's so much work, right? That it's just like, it'll be grueling unless it's like feeding something deeper, a deeper sense of meaning for you.
I plan to continue it. I plan to learn and grow in this direction. And again, as I told you, I have you as an inspiration and many others. I feel like I can and will do more in this field, because still solo performing is my primary job. You know, it's my full-time job and my full-time career. This is what I make my living off. So it's always been my main focus. And I perform a lot. So next after that come teaching. So teaching is next one, and then after that come the troupe. So sometimes I feel like I could have done more, if not that one, but I can't, because I know I make my living from performing. So this comes first, this comes second. But as things may shift, you know, with the age or with the time, then I feel like there is more opportunity for me to grow in this direction.
Absolutely. And along those lines, what is currently inspiring you dance-wise?
What or who?
Yeah, either one.
Well, my teacher, as I told you, always been inspiring to me. Sadly, she quit dancing. Sandra quit dancing. That was so sad to me, but she's still my friend, and I will always mention her as my first inspiration, even if we don't dance together anymore. I still can call her for advice, and I still always have, you know, her words in my mind. Whatever I'm doing, I'm like, oh, she would say this, or what would she say? She would say this. She would say that. So definitely, as I mentioned already, Tito, this guy still on my #1 list of dancers. Many dancers I recently watched and and took workshops with, but he's been continuously present there, inspiring me. Because usually it's like you like someone and it goes off, not like goes off, but it's like next one coming, inspiration. They grow, and this was like grow, just stand there. So this is why I always mention him. I hope to see him again at some point of time. Also, a few years ago, I met a wonderful ballet dancer, and I feel like she's been unexpected inspiration for me, because I'm used to having belly dancers as inspiration. And there I took a ballet class. So her name is Miss Aisha Ash. She's a former ballerina of New York City Ballet. And she happened to be in our area for some time, living and teaching the classes. And I went to her classes and I sucked big time there. But I learned so much from her, an amazing dancer. Things like looking at her and like at some point you get tired of teaching your beginner classes. And you're like, oh my God, I need to drag myself to teach my beginner class, because it's fun to teach advanced, but beginner class, how many hip drops can you do? So this woman had me shifted. It's like now I enjoy my beginner classes more than advanced, because I come and she's amazing, and she'll stand there and she'll do her regular daily exercise in front of you, same ones for her like 30 years of her careers, without any questions, every day. And I'm like, wow, this is what it is about. So now I'm always back to my basics, and always back to, without any hesitation, like, let's repeat it over. Let's start from the hip drop. I know you're a professional dancer. Let's start from that hip drop. So that was a revelation for me, and just the amount of work and discipline they have. Yeah, amazing. She was very, very inspiring. She also inspired me to start Pilates. So I know, yeah, because she's from New York City Ballet, and obviously she was incorporating Pilates too. So yeah, that too. So I got my mat Pilates certification, and later this year I'm planning to continue probably with my reformer and apparatus. So
Yay!
I see it's like I see how it's helpful, and I see how I can go in this way. And again, I needed to grow up to that, because 5 years ago when she just introduced me, I'm like, okay, I have to do it because I have to do it. And now I'm like, I want to do it. Some things you need to grow into.
Yeah, Pilates changed my world, because one, it gave me so many other tools to open up my own training, but it also really helped me as a teacher be able to see more intrinsically what was happening in my students and what may be actually holding them back in some type of way. Yeah, I love it. But
I agree. This is like amazing. So now after that, I'm like open to look for inspiration in more things, like, which is maybe not even closely related to belly dance, but actually they exist. Inspiration exists anywhere.
yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I am very excited for your workshop at Legends, talking about elegant space, because as I have watched a variety of your videos and performances, both live and online, it's the thing that comes up, I think, so often to me, which is kind of amazing when I'm thinking about too how much you gravitate towards restaurant dancing. You have such a sense of ownership of the space itself, and I think normally we associate that to stage, right? We associate that to the theater. So it's something that I'm really excited for people to get a chance to study with you, and hopefully pick up some new tools and new ways of being in their dance space.
I'm looking forward to share what I know and how I feel it. I'm already working on it. I already have it laid out. So yes, I'll share what I think about it. And space is, I don't know why. I actually think actually think you say it more belongs to the stage, but I think I developed it actually at my little restaurants. Oh no, I do stages too, but it's not even the space itself. It's feeling in the space. You know, like you can stand small in the center of something, or you can stand small and be felt like you are big. So I guess I worked again on that during my long 45-minute show. So it will be fun. We're going to do lots of exercises and drills. I'm preparing for them, and footwork and traveling steps and arms and turns and spins and all kinds of, and talks too. I'm looking forward to share what I know about it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you. It was nice chatting with you. It actually was lots of fun.